Have you ever experienced that strange, almost indescribable feeling of déjà vu when meeting someone for the very first time? That deep sense of familiarity, as if you've known them far longer than logic allows? Maybe you questioned your own sanity, or perhaps others told you that you were overthinking it, that it was just infatuation or a passing crush. But deep down, you knew it wasn't that. Because when you looked into their eyes, it didn't feel like love at first sight. It felt like recognition, as if your soul whispered, "Where have you been? I've been searching for you across lifetimes." Carl Jung described this phenomenon as archetypal recognition, a profound moment when the soul recognizes another with whom it has shared experiences beyond the limits of time and rational understanding. It isn't fantasy or exaggeration, it's an authentic resonance between two beings who have met before, not in memory, but in energy. When two destined souls cross paths, the first sign is often an intense magnetic pull, a passion that feels both thrilling and deeply familiar. It's that mysterious yet comforting sense of finally arriving home. Even in your very first conversation, it feels as though every exchange in your past was merely preparation for this one. Every prior relationship seems to have been training to help you grasp the depth of true soul connection. Jung believed this happens because certain souls vibrate at the same energetic frequency, sharing a unique signature that transcends lifetimes. They don't recognize each other because of past earthly meetings, but because they are part of the same cosmic pattern, a constellation of consciousness designed to complement and awaken each other. When this recognition occurs, something stirs within both souls, an activation beyond reason or control. In this video, you'll discover how to recognize when you've met a soul truly destined for yours, and why the challenges that appear to separate you are not barriers, but catalysts meant to strengthen a connection far greater than either of you realize. Stay with me until the end, and you'll understand why Jung believed such encounters are guided by destiny long before they occur, and how to know if you are living one of these rare, transformative connections that can alter the course of two lives forever. There comes a moment when you look at someone and simply know, without a trace of doubt, that this meeting was never random, that it was never just attraction. It's not just about compatibility, nor is it merely about love. It's something far deeper and more mysterious than that. It's as if your soul recognizes in another person something it had long forgotten about itself, as though two fragments of the same cosmic truth finally reunite. After being separated since the dawn of time, Carl Jung spent decades exploring these extraordinary encounters that defy rational explanation and discovered something that transformed how we understand human connection. He realized that when two truly destined souls meet, they generate a force so profound that no external barrier, no unfortunate circumstance, no physical or temporal distance can sever the bond formed between them. Yet what few people mention is that such connections are not meant to be easy. They're meant to be transformative. And this is where the path becomes challenging. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not place two destined souls in comfort and simplicity. That would make it just another ordinary relationship disguised as something divine. Instead, it orchestrates a complex dance of closeness and distance, of meetings and near misses, of uncanny synchronicities, and striking coincidences that continuously test the strength and authenticity of the connection. Jung observed that life's most transformative experiences are always accompanied by challenges, equal in magnitude to their significance. And when two destined souls encounter one another, their trials are never random. They are carefully designed to fortify the bond, stripping away what is shallow and revealing only what is pure, essential, and eternal. Time can seem like an adversary. You might cross paths at the wrong moment, when one or both are bound to other people, other cities, or other life plans. Distance might appear as an unbreakable wall. Families may disapprove, Societies may fail to understand, yet through it all, the connection endures because it was never meant to be ordinary. Circumstances may seem to conspire to keep you apart, yet Jung discovered something remarkable. The greater the external resistance, the stronger the internal connection becomes. Every obstacle, rather than being a barrier, becomes an opportunity for the bond to deepen, for souls to recognize each other not just in comfort, but especially through adversity. The first force that tries to separate destined souls is fear. Fear of intensity, fear of change, and fear of losing control over one's life. When you meet your destined soul, you instinctively know you won't remain the same person after this encounter. That realization alone can feel overwhelming. Jung understood that the human ego craves safety, predictability, and control. Yet a destined soul connection represents the opposite: surrender, vulnerability, and profound transformation. It offers the potential to become far more than you ever imagined, but it also demands that outdated versions of yourself must die. Many retreat at this point, choosing the comfort of the familiar, even if limiting, over the uncertainty of the unknown, even if it holds freedom. This is why many destined soul connections experience temporary separation. Not because the love has faded, nor because the connection was an illusion, but because one or both individuals need time to prepare, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically, to sustain such a profound bond. Jung called this phase accelerated individuation. It's as though the presence of the destined soul triggers intense personal growth, the kind that might normally take years, but now unfolds in months or even weeks. This period is demanding, often confusing and painful, yet essential for both to develop the emotional strength required to experience a deep connection without losing their individuality within it. During these temporary separations, something extraordinary occurs. Instead of weakening the bond, distance strengthens it. Jung noted that truly destined souls often maintain subtle, almost telepathic communication, even in physical absence. They appear in each other's dreams, sense one another's emotions, and intuitively perceive what the other is going through, all without contact. It's as if an invisible thread binds their consciousness, unbreakable by distance. Through this time apart, both individuals engage in deep inner work. They heal unresolved wounds that once blocked the natural flow of love. They cultivate self-awareness and emotional maturity, learning to love themselves so completely that they can extend pure, unconditional love to the other. Jung taught that true love can only exist between two people who have already found completeness within themselves. Not two halves seeking wholeness, but two whole beings choosing to create something even greater together. This, precisely, is what happens during these periods of separation between destined souls. They are not drifting apart. They are preparing for reunion. They don't give up. Instead, they grow stronger. And when they finally reunite, the bond that forms between them is far more powerful than anything they could have built had they stayed together from the very beginning. The second force that often tries to separate destined souls comes from external circumstances. Jung observed that the universe has a peculiar sense of timing when it comes to such profound connections. It rarely allows two souls to unite when everything seems perfectly aligned. Instead, it arranges meetings at the most inconvenient moments. One person might be married, another preparing to move abroad. One facing a professional setback, the other caring for ill parents. One starting a new life, the other closing an old chapter. These challenges aren't acts of cruelty from destiny. Rather, they serve as precise tests, meant to reveal whether the connection is truly transcendent or simply intense attraction disguised as love. After all, any relationship can thrive when circumstances are favorable, but only those between truly destined souls can not only survive adversity, but emerge stronger from it. Jung noted that these difficult situations serve several purposes. First, they test the authenticity of the connection. If it fades at the first sign of trouble, it likely wasn't a soul bond, it was an illusion or projection. Second, they build determination and commitment. When you fight for something meaningful, when you choose to protect it even at personal cost, you develop a deeper appreciation for it than you ever could if it came easily. Third, these struggles create a shared history of resilience, a solid foundation upon which the future relationship can grow. Yet, perhaps the most subtle and powerful force that works to separate destined souls is society itself. We live in a culture that doesn't easily understand or accept connections that transcend conventional norms. Society expects relationships to follow predictable patterns, traditional timelines, familiar structures. It struggles to comprehend two people who recognize each other as destined souls and therefore follow their own rhythm. One that doesn't align with social expectations. Jung recognized that the deepest, most transformative connections have always been misunderstood. Destined souls often face criticism, judgment, and pressure to conform to norms that simply don't apply to their unique bond. Family may question why someone would leave a stable marriage for a complicated connection. Friends may wonder why one would wait years for a person when others are readily available. Society at large might label such love as obsession, fantasy, or emotional immaturity, but Jung found that these external pressures can actually refine and strengthen the connection. They compel both individuals to become clear about their feelings, firm in their beliefs, and steadfast in their truth. When you must defend your love against the world, when you must choose between social approval and emotional honesty, you develop inner conviction and strength that cannot be shaken. Jung also described what he called the shadow period. This is the stage when all unresolved wounds, unhealed traumas, and dysfunctional patterns in both individuals surface at once, demanding to be acknowledged, confronted, and healed. It's as if the depth of their connection activated everything within both psyches that needed to be purified and transformed, allowing them to relate with greater integrity and awareness. This phase can be incredibly difficult because both individuals begin projecting their deepest fears, oldest wounds, and most ingrained defenses onto one another. They may argue over small, seemingly trivial matters that actually represent deeper emotional or existential conflicts. They may become irritated by the other's behavior, and aware that these actions reflect aspects of themselves they've long avoided acknowledging. At the same time, they may feel profound love mixed with unexplained resistance, an intense attraction paired with an urge to withdraw. Jung understood that this stage was essential for two destined souls to eventually relate in a conscious and authentic way. If these buried issues were ignored or suppressed, they would continue to act beneath awareness, repeating cycles of conflict and misunderstanding. But when both individuals have the courage to face this shadow phase together, to see their own denied aspects mirrored by the other, something remarkable occurs. They begin to grow more whole, more genuine, more capable of true love. Their relationship shifts from one built on projection and fantasy to one grounded in recognition, respect, and mutual acceptance. The next force that often seems to separate destined souls is what Jung called the call of individuation. Every person has a unique journey of self-discovery and growth that must unfold. Sometimes this requires periods of solitude, times of independent reflection and development that can only happen away from external influence, even from someone deeply loved. Jung noted that truly destined souls honor and support each other's individuation, even if it means temporary distance. They understand that real love is never possessive or dependent, it is liberating. And sometimes, to love someone deeply means to give them the freedom and time to become the person they were always meant to be. These times of separation are painful, but sacred. In solitude, each person builds the inner strength, clarity, and depth of character needed to contribute uniquely to the eventual reunion with their destined soul. Jung believed that two people can only create a truly transcendent relationship once each has developed a solid relationship with themselves. This inner development happens only through silence, reflection, and the courage to confront oneself without distraction. During these periods of individuation, destined souls often experience what Jung described as amplified synchronicity. They begin noticing extraordinary coincidences connected to each other, thinking of one another at the same moment, receiving meaningful signs or symbols through random events, or even sharing similar dreams and insights despite being apart. Jung saw these synchronicities not as chance, but as evidence that two consciousnesses can stay connected beyond the limits of space and time. They act as reminders that even in physical separation, the bond between souls remains active, growing, and evolving in ways beyond rational understanding, like messages from the universe affirming that the connection is real, enduring, and that reunion will happen when the time is right. Jung also identified a key difference between destined souls and what many people mistakenly call soulmates. The popular idea of a soulmate implies a perfect match, someone who completes us and brings effortless harmony. But destined souls do not arrive to complete us. They come to awaken us. They are not here to make life easy, but to make it meaningful. They do not provide ready-made answers, but rather inspire the right questions. A destined soul connection is inherently transformative. It compels growth, challenges limitations, and expands awareness. It confronts you with parts of yourself you might wish to avoid and pushes you to develop unseen strengths. Through this shared process of awakening, both souls evolve into more authentic and courageous versions of themselves. And that is precisely why no external force can truly separate them. Their connection exists not just in emotion, but in purpose, because these individuals are not merely united by attraction or compatibility, but by a shared evolutionary purpose. They recognize each other as companions in a journey of spiritual growth, something far greater than what either could achieve alone. When two people share such a profound purpose, when they see one another as partners in a mission of mutual transformation, their bond becomes nearly unbreakable. However, Jung also warned of a phenomenon he called the test of absolute faith. This occurs in many of these extraordinary connections, a point where everything seems lost. All visible evidence suggests the connection cannot survive, that the barriers are too great, and that it might be time to let go. Yet this stage is not truly a test of external circumstances, but of each person's inner ability to maintain faith in the bond when there is no logical reason left to believe it can succeed. Jung noticed that this test almost always takes place just before destined. Souls finally unite in a lasting and stable way. It is as though the universe seeks complete assurance that both individuals choose the connection, not out of convenience, scarcity, or dependence, but from a deep, unwavering recognition that they belong to one another beyond all practical or emotional needs. This phase can last for months or even years. During it, hope seems to vanish. Communication may stop entirely. Circumstances may look impossible. New relationships may appear in both their lives, giving the impression that they have moved on. Yet Jung discovered that for truly destined souls, this apparent separation does not destroy the bond, it purifies it. It burns away everything rooted in ego, attachment, and illusion, leaving behind only what is essential, eternal, and true. In this test of absolute faith, each person faces one profound question. Would you still choose this person if you knew you could never be together in the way you desire? The answer to this question defines the connection. If both realize that their love and choice would remain, even without the promise of a shared future, then the bond has transcended personal need and entered the realm of unconditional love. Jung observed that it is precisely when both reach this state, love free from outcome, free from demand, that the universe almost miraculously begins to remove the obstacles that once made union seem impossible. It is as though the ability to love without expectation becomes the key that unlocks all barriers. At this stage, the bond between souls becomes so pure, so strong, and so aligned with higher purpose that no force in existence can prevent its realization in the physical world. Jung also observed that certain destined souls develop what he described as a secret language, as a form of communication that exists only between them. It operates through symbols, synchronicities, and shared experiences that no one else can interpret or understand. These may include recurring numbers that appear in both their lives, specific songs that play at meaningful moments, dreams that reflect one another, or simply an intuitive ability to sense each other's emotions across distance. This secret language keeps their bond alive and active, even during separation or hardship. It constantly reaffirms that the connection is real, rare, and purposeful. And as this inner communication deepens, it becomes increasingly immune to outside interference. These souls develop channels of connection that transcend conventional means of communication, channels untouched by distance, circumstance, or external influence. It is as though they have created their own private dimension, a sacred space where they can meet and communicate regardless of what occurs in the physical world. The fourth challenge that tries to divide destined souls is what Jung called linear time pressure. We live in a world governed by chronological order, where relationships are expected to progress logically within socially accepted timelines. But soul connections operate according to a different rhythm, a sacred time that doesn't follow conventional expectations. Two souls might meet and instantly recognize their belonging, yet still need years to prepare for physical union. They might spend decades apart and reunite as if no time has passed. They may live separate lives, evolving individually, until the perfect cosmic moment brings them together again. Jung noted that forcing such connections to fit into ordinary timelines often harms them. These bonds follow their own natural rhythm, their own inner wisdom that must be respected. A key lesson for destined souls is learning to trust this divine timing, even when it defies logic, tests patience, or challenges social norms about how relationships should unfold. Jung also found that these connections often trigger what he termed value inversion. Things that once seemed important, social validation, financial security, family approval, begin to lose significance in the presence of a profound spiritual bond. Authenticity becomes more valuable than convenience, emotional truth more meaningful than material comfort, and spiritual growth more essential than stability. This transformation can be unsettling not only for the individuals involved, but also for those around them who can't comprehend why someone would abandon a normal life for a connection that appears uncertain or complex. Yet Jung explained that this inversion is not a conscious decision, but a natural outcome of awakening, the inevitable shift that occurs when a soul encounters its true counterpart. Once touched by something deeply transformative, it becomes impossible to continue living by superficial values or to prioritize external security over inner truth. Though this shift may initially feel destabilizing, it ultimately strengthens the bond between destined souls. It aligns them with values that are authentic, enduring, and spiritually sustainable. Finally, Jung's concepts of anima and animus also play a vital role in these connections. He proposed that every person carries within themselves aspects of the opposite sex, the anima or inner feminine within men, and the animus or inner masculine within women. In ordinary relationships, people tend to project these inner aspects onto their partners, forming attachments based on partial reflections or surface-level complementarity. But in destined soul connections, something deeper occurs. Instead of merely projecting, each person recognizes reflections of their own wholeness in the other. It is not just a glimpse of their undeveloped side, but a mirror of their full potential. This creates a far more profound, transformative, and evolutionary dynamic between them, one that guides both toward greater self-realization and inner unity. Instead of seeking completeness through another person, each individual learns to cultivate wholeness within themselves, to integrate both their masculine and feminine qualities and become balanced on their own. Paradoxically, the more whole each person becomes individually, the deeper and more meaningful their connection grows. Carl Jung described a final stage in the journey of destined souls, what he called conscious union. It's the point where two people, having faced challenges, lessons, and personal growth, finally meet as fully developed and aware individuals. Together, they create something far greater than either could have achieved alone. This conscious union isn't built on dependency, projection, or fantasy. It's founded on free will, mutual respect, shared vision, and unconditional love. It's a partnership between two complete individuals who choose to collaborate in building something beyond themselves. Perhaps a family, a creative work, a shared mission, or simply an example of how true love can exist in the real world. Jung believed these conscious unions between destined souls are more than blessings for the individuals involved. They contribute to humanity's spiritual evolution. They serve as living examples, inspiring others who are still searching for genuine and purposeful relationships. They show that love can transcend conventional boundaries and exist on higher principles of growth, awareness, and mutual service. But Jung's most profound insight about destined souls is that their union is not an end, it's a beginning. After completing their personal journeys and uniting consciously, they often realize their connection was never only about them. It was a calling to manifest something larger, a shared mission that benefits others. Such couples may become healers, teachers, artists, or simply living demonstrations of what transformative relationships look like. Jung viewed these unions as laboratories of human development, sacred spaces where new dimensions of intimacy, understanding, and mutual evolution can be explored and shared with the world. When two souls travel this path together, overcoming trials and reaching conscious union, they realize they were never truly apart. Every separation, every challenge, every seeming obstacle was part of a greater process of growth and preparation. What looked like distance was actually incubation. What appeared as obstacles were tests of trust and strength. What felt like pain was a lesson for expansion. When such souls look back and recognize how even the most difficult moments shaped their journey, they develop a deep gratitude for life's hidden wisdom, a reverence that surpasses philosophy or religion. If these words resonate with you, if you feel something familiar within them, write in the comments, "I recognize our connection." That way I'll know this message has reached your heart, and if this story mirrors your own, you'll understand why I created 2 guides to help continue this journey. 21 Days of Transformation with Carl Jung and the Survival Manual for Difficult Days. The first helps you integrate the deep changes awakened by finding a destined soul. The second supports you through obstacles and separations, helping you stay centered during challenging times. You'll find both links in the pinned comment. Finally, remember, the forces that seem to separate you are not enemies, but teachers. Obstacles are not punishments, but preparations. Temporary distance is not an ending, but a stage of growth. And if your connection is truly destined, aligned with a higher purpose, then no power in the universe can prevent it from coming together in the perfect time and form. Trust the process, honor the path, and know that when 2 destined souls unite consciously, they create a love that is truly indestructible. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.